Thoughts on children in weddings?
No.
Barefoot weddings?
No.
Bridesmaids in or out?
Out. If they're standing up with you, out.
Okay.
Mine did not stand up at the altar with me.
Mine didn't either.
Yeah.
You are listening to The Clear Cut Podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Landau, founder of The Clear Cut. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Clear Cut Podcast. I'm so excited to be sitting down with Sydney Sadick. She is the editor-in-chief publisher of Spotlight Hamptons magazine. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
I'd love it if you could give everyone just like a brief intro on who you are, what you do, and then we can dive in deeper.
Who, what, where, why?
Yes.
I'm a born and bred New Yorker, first of all.
That's amazing.
So, yes.
It's very rare to come by, I feel like.
I am one of the very few. I feel like you ask people and they're like, I'm from New York. I'm like, but where in New York? And then you find out it's like not Manhattan, but now I grew up around here. So being where your office is in the Diamond District, this is just an area that I've always, been in. So it's nice. I got my start in journalism back when I was in high school. I'd never been to a sleepaway camp or anything like that. And my mom and dad were like, you are never going to get into a college if they can't see that you are independent and have had experience being away from home. So camp was never for me. And I ended up going to Harvard's summer program.
Okay.
Yeah, my junior year of high school that summer. And it was like my Elle Woods Legally Blonde moment, except not in law, all in journalism. And I started a blog there, which I ended up continuing back in New York. And I knew that I wanted to continue pursuing a career in media. So I ended up going to George Washington University. I was a journalism major at their School of Media and Public Affairs. And while I was there, I interned for Rachel Zoe. I interned at the Daily Front Row,
Wow.
Oprah Magazine. Yeah, a lot of places. And then my internship at the Daily Front Row turned into a freelance writing gig. So I was commuting back and forth my later years in college to cover the Met Ball and the Grammys and all these cool events.
Incredible.
Yeah. And then I became associate editor there once I graduated, had an amazing run, and just really wanted to then get into the media space. So I started contributing to a lot of different morning shows and evening entertainment shows, talking about fashion and celebrity. Mm-hmm. And then COVID happened and I couldn't just depend on going into a TV studio because that wasn't happening. And so I said, after working for the Daily Front Row and also Hamptons Magazine and all these places, I was like, it's time to launch my own magazine, and one that I have control over, and one that speaks to my community, which is millennials and GenNow. And now it's been 3 years since we started, going into our third summer.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Yeah.
And I've seen Spotlight magazine everywhere, and I feel like it gets such good coverage. Can you tell us like a little bit about what inspired you and what the magazine encompasses?
Sure. So people think that print is dead,
Yes.
but it's not. So especially when it comes to luxury demographics, the Hamptons, Miami, Palm Beach, those are sunny locales where you don't necessarily A, have Wi-Fi, you B, can't really see your technology because the sun is shining on it. And C, it's this whole pool of people who like to be seen. They want to feel like their pictures in the magazine. So you see this huge group of very influential women and men running to these magazines to find out if A, they're in it, but B, what's trending and what's happening in these areas. But there was never a magazine that was targeted, like I said, to this next generation. And during COVID, I was camped out in the Hamptons, which is obviously a luxury, and loved it. But I also saw that as a business opportunity. And so the magazine is digestible, it's easy to read, it's fun, it's light, it has a youthful feel. And while we were really focused on, millennials always and still are, we're now being read by people of all ages, which is really nice.
That's amazing. And yeah, when you're like sitting by the pool in a sunny location, you want to have a magazine.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
Get off that phone. AI's, my husband's an AI, I shouldn't say it, but AI is coming for us.
I know. So I know you mentioned your husband. You recently got married, right?
Yes, a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations. Couple weeks ago?
Yes, March 16th was our wedding date.
Oh my God. So you're a fresh newlywed.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank you.
How did you meet your husband?
On Bumble.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
My best friend is getting married in a few months, and I'm officiating the wedding, and they met on Bumble too.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What a cool experience for you. I mean, the thing is that I work in an industry where there's a lot of women and a lot of men who aren't interested in women. I never have drank, so I would never just go sit at a bar. And I definitely had some interesting dating experiences throughout my 20s. But it took COVID to happen to kind of put a pause on everything. Same with my career, same with relationships, and just reevaluating about what I want and what's important. And it was an opportunity to develop a friendship with somebody. And so he and I really developed, just a really strong friendship and connection. And then it kind of took off sort of quickly from there.
And I think a lot of relationships really blossomed during that COVID time.
Or not.
It was one way or the other. You either knew that it wasn't going to work out, or it really like expedited things a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm admiring your beautiful engagement ring.
Thank
and obviously we are a jewelry and engagement company. Like,
Yes.
were you involved in like the picking out process? I know there's lots of taboos around like designing your ring. Can you tell us
Totally
about
involved.
it?
So
Okay.
he knows that I am a specific kind of a girl. I love fashion, and it's a big investment. And I think while some women romanticize this idea that they're just going to pop, their leg out and, know everything, for me as someone who likes control, he really had me involved in everything. I actually even knew when we were getting engaged. He was like, this weekend, like something special is happening, like reserve it, right? And I knew, and I didn't know what he was doing that day. And it was the most magical day where he surprised me from literally the moment I woke up to the moment we went to bed. But there was something really nice about shopping for rings. My ring is not custom made. It was actually something that I just saw when we were shopping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I'm just the kind of person who doesn't like to overcomplicate things, and B, when I know. Even my wedding dress, it was the only dress that I tried on.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I feel like sometimes when you're shopping for rings or dresses, it can be like overwhelming the amount of options you have. And then like the more you see, the more confused you get. So it is good to just keep it simple. If you see it and you love it, just like move on.
Exactly. And that's kind of what I do. Like, I'm always wearing clothes. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And I try to remind people, women in my life, especially my single friends, like, your wedding is one day of your life. Your jewelry is forever. So like, to me, that's so beyond important. But your wedding, the planning, like, you're spending 1 year or more talking about one day. Like, you have to keep everything in perspective. What are the things that are going to come with you after the wedding?
Yeah.
And then what is really just a moment, a wonderful moment, but a moment in time.
That's a great way to think about it, because again, brides can stress out so much about every little detail. Can you tell us like a little bit about like your wedding planning process? Like, were there things that you would do differently, or things that brides you suggest like must have or must do?
Yeah. The wedding planning process for me was interesting. We host a lot of events for Spotlight.
Yeah, I've seen them online.
Yeah, so many. And so events are really a part of what I do. So I think for people and women like me who know this world, having a wedding planner is a little bit unnecessary feeling. However, if you're having your wedding at a venue that requires it, like I did, there's just no choice. So the wedding planner part, I just felt like I didn't really need. I think it's really important to invest, if you can, in someone who can help you design the creative look of it. So the person who's going to be sourcing your flowers, the decor. And for us, that was Birch, and Birch is absolutely amazing.
We used them for our latest event in January, and it was amazing to work with them.
Josh and his team are really, really talented. He just makes every wedding look different despite how many weddings they are doing. And I really respect that. I think for me, another investment that I thought was really important was the band.
Music is make or break.
It's make or break. And our band was just killer. They're amazing. That's what I knew I wanted to splurge on. The flowers and everything, like, Josh was going to be amazing and do amazing, but what I wanted was the band. I'm like, that's going to make everybody get out of their seats.
How did you find the right band?
So we were given by our planner at the time like 20 different options to look at, and it was the only one that I liked. And again, same as the dress, same as the ring, and they were amazing. They were available. So we booked everything. We got engaged that December of 2022, and then March 2024 was the wedding. So we had time.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Would you recommend, I think, like videographer, photographer, like all those things, like those extras?
I think it depends on the type of bride. So like if I wasn't a more public person, I probably wouldn't have had someone, follow me to do videos all night long. For me, it was very important. But like for the woman who isn't in our world, maybe it's not necessary.
There's a new thing I've seen too. There's like a whole new crop of people that will come and do like TikTok videos for you during your wedding.
That's wild. We did not do that. We had someone who definitely was shooting for us for Instagram, and then we had like a long video. I'm all about content. Yeah. Those are how the memories last. So for me, that was very important. And I think having great photography, those are images that you're going to pass on to multiple generations of your family. And I think a picture is worth 1,000 words.
I totally agree. I didn't get a videographer until like last minute. And I'm so happy I did, because that really like captures like the whole vibe and like the memory.
Yeah.
Beyond like just the photos too.
Exactly.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
That's a good question. What would I have done differently? I don't think there really is. Back to the wedding planner part, I think I kind of jumped into picking, this team, and I think I should have been better at interviewing multiples. Like, I think they all make you feel like, oh my God, there's a million weddings. Like, we're all going to be booked. But this, as you, I'm sure, know, was a slower year for weddings. Yeah. So there was a lot actually of availability. So I just wish I didn't rush that, because you don't know. But
I think there was a lot of pressure for like the 2022, 2023 weddings, because it was like coming off of COVID and people not being able to get married. And now it's kind of like normalized a little bit.
Yes. But other than that, I think everything, honestly, it was so perfect. It sounds like arrogant and bizarre to say about your own wedding, but I swear to you, like, everybody at our wedding said it was the best they'd ever been to. And I didn't know if they were just being nice at first, but then when I heard it from like literally all of our guests, I was like, as long as everybody had a good time and I had a good time, my husband had a good time, then we know we did a good job. Yeah. Well spent money.
Definitely. As someone who's worked in fashion for so long, did you know, like, beyond your wedding dress, like all of the other like bridal looks that you were going to do? And how did you think about those? Yeah.
So I knew for the wedding ceremony that I wanted to wear Monique Lillier. I just love her designs, and I think they're classic, but they have a glamorous, component to it. She's like the new Vera Wang to me. And then in terms of the other looks, I knew that I always wanted to have some outfit changes, not even to just like make a statement, but practically speaking, like, to be in your wedding gown, to have fun, to be in your wedding gown all night is not the easiest. You're dancing. If people are getting close to you and talking to you and they step on your white dress, you can start seeing marks. Like, I do think there is a purpose for multiple dresses if you can. Maury Lee, who's one of our Spotlight brand partners, Madeline Gardner, is an amazing designer, and she custom made for me a gorgeous dress for my reception, and it was so sweet and lovely. And then for the after party look, I truly just bought something that was off the rack from Patbo. It looked custom made. It was really fun. It incorporated a little bit of color, which I love. And it was just, to me, the after party dress was not something that I would suggest spending money on. That's, the last thing that I would want to spend a lot of money. So invested in the wedding dress. My reception dress was a partnership, which was lovely. And then, just bought that after party off the rack.
Do you think that brides like have to wear all white for all of their like bridal events? Because I know that we've heard like from some of our brides that it's like so stressful to have like find the perfect white outfits for like bachelorette, bridal shower, after party, all of that.
Yeah. So I only wore white for my ceremony. For my bridal shower, I wore pink. For my rehearsal dinner and welcome party, I wore a gorgeous yellow dress by Naeem Khan. It had a bridal feel. And then the Maury Lee dress was white and gold. So I personally think that it's a little tacky to wear white the whole time through. I think you then don't appreciate the white moment that is your actual ceremony dress. And I think every bride has to do what's true to them. I'm a very colorful person. I love to wear color. I rarely, wear just neutrals unless I'm, I don't know, whatever, in a non-out there mood. So no, I think there are no rules, and I don't think you should feel pressured. I also think it's hard to find a lot of white looks that feel flattering on you.
It's so hard, especially if you're doing your events like through like the winter season too.
Yeah.
To just find something that's appropriate. Like, I also didn't wear white for like most of my events, and everyone was like, that's kind of weird. But I was like, whatever. Just make it feel good.
I don't think there is weird anymore. And I think Monique is a designer who shows. She has a whole section of wedding dresses even for your ceremony that incorporate color and print. So I think the boundaries are definitely blurred now.
And changing, for sure. What do you think are some bridal trends like that are coming up for 2024? Bridal trends.
To be honest with you, I have stopped paying attention to the trends going forward because I'm like, the wedding is now done. Yeah. But from what I know, and I guess, my wedding is technically in 2024, smaller bridal parties. That's a big one. So we only had 2 bridesmaids for me and 2 groomsmen, which were my husband's sisters on his side. And then my brother was the ring bearer. That was just something that I didn't want. I wanted those speeches to be for a more intimate moment, which was our rehearsal dinner. And it seems like the things that we naturally just did, like when I was scrolling after on Instagram, they're like, these are the trends. So I think the trends are based on what people want and what they don't want, and people are craving a little bit more intimacy maybe this year.
I think so. I've heard that like more intimate vibes or smaller weddings, or just feeling like you have like those speeches or those moments in those like smaller settings are becoming a trend, and definitely the bridal party one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we had 160 guests at our wedding, and everyone perceives that number differently. I did not think it felt big. I think you go to a restaurant.
That's like a pretty good size.
Right? That's like a standard number of people at a restaurant all at once. And it felt intimate enough, but it then also felt full. Like when we're on the dance floor, I'm like, wow, like all these people are really here for us.
Yeah.
And we just felt so much love on that night. And
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to play a little styling game with you that incorporates some of what we do and obviously some of your expertise. So we have 3 beautiful engagement rings here. And I just want to see, how you would personally recommend pairing it. People love our wedding band pairing series. So what wedding bands you would pair with each one.
Oh my goodness.
So we can start with this first one. This is an oval diamond, just over 4 carats, and it's on like a classic like pave platinum band.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I like to match the wedding band close to the diamond size of the engagement band. So let's take it. Maybe something like this.
Yeah, that's like right? That's like a very, very close match. So a similar like matching pave band.
Yeah. I like that look. I think it's very classic and elegant and timeless. I think when you have anniversaries, your husband can do something a little more fun. Maybe you put a ring in between the engagement ring and the wedding band, but I feel like that's a good starter band.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to take that and put it with it so we can film.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries. And then the next one we have is an emerald cut diamond. This one is on a plain yellow gold band. So
I could try.
Yeah, of course. And this one is just over 6 carats.
Okay.
But yeah, yellow gold's been trending a lot in bridal. A lot more requests for yellow gold recently.
I see that. I mean, it's so interesting because like you really could go also for a platinum band with it to tie into the diamond.
Exactly.
But I think if I was somebody, and I'm not, but I love gold jewelry, but if you are going for a gold engagement ring, you probably want a gold band with diamonds. So I would probably do something like that.
And mixing shapes, like
I think I would maybe mix some shapes. I mean, let me see. Are there any ones that have a emerald cut? There is that, right? I mean, that's beautiful too. Okay. This is hard.
I would say a lot of brides have been mixing shapes for their wedding band. So there are no rules. You don't have to match it perfectly.
I think I like the look of mixing shapes.
Cool. So oval band, emerald, engagement ring, and that is something that we are seeing a lot. Those are 2 really popular fancy shapes. So if you're not going for the round, those are 2 really classic shapes otherwise.
Beautiful.
And then last but not least, we have a 3-stone ring. So this is a radiant cut diamond that's 5 carats with trapezoid side stone set in platinum.
It's gorgeous. Let's see what
It's a little trickier for the 3-stone ring, I think.
Yeah, it is. I think I would probably go for something more classic again, but maybe something like this. Well, my fingers are a little tiny, so it's kind of hard to judge it on me.
Do you feel like the 3-stone ring is like more of a Palm Beach vibe?
That's a good point. Yeah, I think my grandma might have had a 3. I think something like this. Maybe this isn't exactly perfect.
But like the east-west emerald.
I think so.
Nothing that, because you don't want to overwhelm the 3-stone ring.
Does this overwhelm?
No, I don't think so, because I think it's set east-west.
Let's try one more.
Okay.
I love this game.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that looks right. What do you recommend? It's hard.
This is like the tricky one, because 3-stone rings are difficult.
Okay, what if you do something like that?
I kind of like that.
You totally switch it up. You start incorporating some
color. So the sapphire and round. I kind of love that.
I think that's good. Let's put this away. I feel like if someone's wants a 3-stone ring, then they're willing to do something a little different for their wedding band.
Definitely. And what kind of bride do you think like would wear these ring pairings?
Like a royal bride?
I don't know, just kind of like their vibe. Like a Palm Beach bride or like an Upper East Side bride.
Yeah, I could see definitely someone in Palm Beach going for the 3-stone. I definitely see a lot of Upper East Siders now gravitating towards sapphires in different colors. My girlfriend just got married and she had a 2-stone ring and it was diamond and sapphire.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more sapphire in engagement rings.
Something new, something blue, something blue, something new, whatever. Yeah. These are so pretty.
What about these two?
The gold one I definitely see as maybe like the downtown Tribeca girl.
Totally.
Right? Like she's fashion forward but doesn't want to be so out there. And then this is very, to me, Upper East Side, Palm Beach. This is everybody.
Yeah.
This is no matter where you live.
Classic. Yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for helping us pair.
Such a fun game.
I kind of wanted to give you a few like rapid fire questions if you're okay with that.
Yes.
Thoughts on children in weddings?
No.
Barefoot weddings?
No.
Bridesmaids in or out?
Out. If they're standing up with you, out.
Okay.
Mine did not stand up at the altar with me.
Mine didn't either.
Yeah.
Can your partner see the dress before the wedding?
No.
Buying a wedding dress online?
No.
Shopping for an engagement ring with your partner?
Yes. Big yes.
Appropriate time between wedding and honeymoon?
You have to go immediately. Immediately. We left the next day. You need to be in that moment and continue it, because this is no longer a rapid fire answer.
Yeah.
But if you seriously, for someone like myself and him, who both are entrepreneurs and we own our own businesses, the moment we get back home, the moment the work begins. And
they don't tell you, you get a little bit depressed after your wedding. So it's a great way to like keep the high going.
Yeah.
Is sister-in-law mandatory bridesmaid?
No.
Mandatory invite to bachelorette?
No.
How many outfit changes are too many?
More than 3.
Interviewee that you've interviewed that smelled the best?
Someone who I've interviewed who smelled the best. Who has smelled the best? The chain smokers?
Most, like, best interview you've ever had?
Best interview I've ever had. There have been so many. It was so
top
yeah.
3.
It was so long ago when I was in high school. I interviewed Oscar De La Renta.
Oh wow!
And he's one of my favorites, and it was just very nice to do that.
And last one, your dream cover star for Spotlight.
My dream. Probably Jennifer Lopez. I'm a huge Jennifer fan, and I just love everything that she does. But I would want it to be our own photography. We do all of our own photography of all of our cover stars, but she tends to not do that with every magazine that she's on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll be like...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I sometimes see stock images. So we would have to shoot her, and I would have to creative direct everything, and that would be my dream because I love her.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Amazing. So thanks for the rapid fire. That was so much fun. Going back to kind of a little bit about Spotlight, how do you pick your cover stars? How do you pick those it women or people that are, tastemakers of the moment that you want to feature?
I'm thinking about people who actually have direct influence over the communities that we print in. Mm-hmm. So we're not necessarily putting the biggest celebrity on our cover. We could have an Oscar winner and put it on the cover and no one in the Hamptons or Palm Beach will pick it up because we're what do we care? We want people who speak to us and who we know. And so we still have big names, but I'm always thinking about who has a direct influence and who's actually a part of these places.
Who's the latest cover star?
Our latest issue featured Grandma Gail and Kim Merstein of Excuse My Grandma. So that was for our Palm Beach issue.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, I've seen them. They're so funny.
They're amazing, and people are obsessed with them, and they were just a huge hit. And we're actually shooting all of our summer new cover stars next Monday and Tuesday.
Amazing.
So we're in that mode, and I'm very excited. It's, once you've put out over 15 issues, like it starts to get like, okay, like what's next? But there's always someone, and we have a great roster.
So what do you see for like the future of Spotlight or anything else like going on in your career and life?
Yeah. I think before, getting engaged, probably I was always so obsessed with what is next and how can I keep achieving things. And you're on Instagram and everyone's trying to say this announcement. And that used to be a little bit me. I think now there's something really special about having sustainability and being really consistent. The most successful people are never people who pop up and go viral. You don't hear about them, years later. So I'm looking to really continue what we're doing, to be even more excellent at what we're doing, to continue working with amazing brands and people. We're already printing more issues than ever this year. So that's, big for us.
Defying like what everyone's saying about print magazines too.
Yeah, I mean, we have competitors of ours who are really decreasing and who are barely going to be visible this year, and we're only getting bigger.
That's incredible, because you see so many magazines going out of business and yours is thriving, and I see it everywhere.
Yeah, it's been really successful, and I think, there's a lot that goes into it. I think it's not necessarily, you think of Condé Nast, Devil Wears Prada, you have a million people working. It's not about that. It's not about how many people you have in the kitchen. It's about, do you have good people in the kitchen? And I keep everything very tight because I know what needs to be done to be profitable. If you run huge companies, I think in any real industry today, it's not sustainable.
Yeah, and you can have like pop up, go viral, and then like fizzle out so quickly. And that's not something that anyone with their own business like wants to do long term.
It's so true. But I think after being in St. Bart for my honeymoon, I definitely have some ideas about expanding and maybe doing a special issue there at some point.
I think that would be so good.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so many Americans, and when you get there, like everything's French, obviously. So not all of us speak French. So I think to have something somewhere like that speaks to, the vacationers and is a great way to market American brands, I think that would be something, exciting. So,
well, excited to look forward to seeing that. Where can people like follow you, keep up to date on everything?
You can follow me on Instagram at Sydney Sadick, and then Spotlight X Magazine on Instagram too.
You are listening to The Clear Cut Podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Landau, founder of The Clear Cut.